This segment of Packard Pokes At was made possible by patrons of the show and viewers like you. Please go to patreon.com/PackardPokesAt to help support the show. Thank you. Down in Texas, they apparently do not know anything about science books because they had recently an outbreak of chlamydia. Getting an STD is not unusual. The problem is these people down there, they are teaching abstinence-only to the students down there, and this is not just a Texas problem, unfortunately. There are a lot of other states that teach sex education like this. It's lack of sex education. Wisconsin recently becoming one of those. 25 states require abstinence to be stressed. Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Louisiana, no surprise there, Maine, Michigan, my neighbors to the north and to my east, Mississippi, Missouri, New Jersey, North Carolina, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and, of course, Wisconsin. So if you're in one of these states, your kids are not getting a proper education, and it kind of really sucks. One of the things is that because of this religious abstinence only, down in Texas there, almost 10% of the tested pupils down there were infected with what the federal health officials were calling an epidemic. The Crane Independent School District down in Texas, the handbook says they affirm that they do not offer a curriculum in human sexuality. Because of this outbreak that's out there, the school has now planned a 3-day educational course for all students. Yeah, you can make up for a lifetime of sexual ed that you're missing in 3 days. I guess they're going to show them a few pornos. See, this is how you do it. Get it done. Go do it. That clock. See, that's how you do it. So, yeah. Or you shouldn't do it. I don't know. This is how you put the condom on. There, you're done. Okay? No. But interestingly enough, that the Texas state law, and I kind of commented on that before, they say that you have to emphasize abstinence until marriage. Now, there's a lot of myth behind sex education of abstinence. One of the claims is, because they say this is one of the claims of abstinence, is that that education delays sexual initiation and reduces teen pregnancy, which is absurd and false. Back in 2007, showed that youth enrolled in programs were no more likely than those not in programs to delay sexual initiation and have fewer sexual partners or to abstain from sex. And one of the other ones here is the claim is abstinence-only programs are responsible for the recent dramatic decline in teen pregnancy, which is also false. The new study showed that the improved use of contraception is responsible for 86% of the decline in U.S. adolescents between 1995 and 2002. There's a lot more. There'll be a link at on the video, so to show you where these are at. And if you have a comment, you can leave it here below. Connie, your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I do have to say that I have a certain amount of ignorance about chlamydia. I was like, wait, isn't that just a yeast infection? And that's what it gets mixed up with.
Yeah.
But
I usually I use it on bread. It's a paste, and goes well with peanut butter.
I get it mixed up with that one Tom Lear song, Chlamydia, Chlamydia, oh, having it chlamydia. Anyway, that wasn't Tom Lear. That was an older song. But anyway, God, this is so frustrating, because part of my idea with teaching children is that you teach children when they're ready. And generally, there's a lot of things that children will start to ask about, and that's when you start to teach them about them. But when it comes to sex education, when it comes to all kinds of ideas about our body and stuff, it needs to be introduced early. And what I really hate about this kind of thinking is how it thinks that just talking about our bodies and just talking about feelings and things, how it has to be highly sexualized. It's automatically assumed that everything's sexualized. And I'm like, well, just because it has something to do with our sexual organs doesn't mean it's sexualized.
Right.
Why can't we be smarter at this point? You know, we
Religion.
we put a man on the moon. We've got, you know, probes on Mars. Isn't that weird that we call it a probe? But anyway,
you said probe.
I said probe. And you know what suffers? What suffers? The same people who don't want sex education are the ones who don't want Planned Parenthood, and they say that, you know, kids shouldn't be on birth control because that's going to give them they have it all backwards. Everything's backwards. It's like, hey, guess what? Tell kids, hey, this is your body. This is normal, and it's all this moralization about our bodies and about sex and about just, you know, I'm sorry.
Not like we get an instruction manual with our bodies. It's like, here, this is how you use your penis. This is how your toe does not flex in that direction. You know.
Sorry, anybody who's had a little baby, and again, you know, they're not okay. Little babies in the crib, you know. The fact is that, especially with boys, once they find out that there's that extra little arm down there, like, look who's talking, the baby. Oh, look at that. What's that?
I wonder what I could do with that.
How do I get that in my mouth? Yeah.
Torvin from the chat room says they see kids as punishment for having sex.
That's all they well, and see, no, that's exactly the bigger picture. It is. And what I really hate about this whole thing is that they can't decide what side of the fence they want to be on. And so they're just going to sit there and squat over both sides and say, you just shouldn't be doing this because, and they forget what it was like. They forget that it doesn't matter when they were 13 or 14 years old, that all they had to do was look at a handsome guy or a beautiful girl and they, you know, they wanted to be with that person. They had all these other thoughts. It doesn't matter. They forgot, you know, and they want to willfully forget, and so they're just trying to squelch everything down because it displeases some god that they believe in now. It's just like, what? No, that's not how you solve things.
Right.
No, it isn't.
Godless Geezer, your thoughts?
Yeah. Before I get going, I just want to make a note of what Connie was saying about the groups who are both anti-contraception, anti-sex ed, and anti-abortion. It seems to me they want to reduce women to a hymen, a uterus, and dishpan hands.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You're just a baby maker with hands that makes me sandwich.
So, but seriously, I live in a state that used to be the worst for teen pregnancy, but Arkansas has now topped us. You gotta step. New Mexico is heavily Catholic and heavily Mormon. Not a good mix.
I was gonna say you guys gotta better step up your game if you're gonna be number one in that. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, we were number one, but but we don't have abstinence only. They do have an abstinence law. Basically, they have to state that abstinence is the only 100% sure way of not getting a sexually transmitted disease and not getting pregnant, which is in itself half wrong. You're perfectly able to get sexually transmitted diseases without sex, but then beyond that, the districts can do what they want. My district, though it is a very conservative county, somehow they got liberal people in the administration, like they're doing LGBTQ awareness, how to use a condom, the need for condoms, but it's ridiculous in my state, and I think the real problem is parents and religious mongers are idiots. Yes, my kid is not going to ever have sex until I want a grandchild.
Yeah, because it always works
that way. It's why in the world don't you do what they do in many other countries? Start first grade, beginning to tell you about what's what, how it
Yes.
works, where to put it.
Right.
It's kind of like, oh, kids are drinking too much. Let's make the drinking age 21, and that's really helped. No, you
No.
forbid it. That makes them want it all that much more.
Absolutely.
If you
No,
say,
yeah, right.
this is for adults, and you're not adult, so now that you're thinking you're an adult when you're 12, you're going to want it all that much more.
Yeah.
Tell them the truth.
Yeah.
Like, let me say one thing I did with my kids. We've talked. I answer their questions.
Wait. Talk. You talked. Talk. You mean talk to the. Well, wait a minute. Let me write this down. Talk to children. Okay. All right. Got it.
Yes, and said about you're ready to have sex when you're ready for the consequences. That was the way I put it. It's not for me to choose. It's your body.
Right.
But my younger daughter, she has some health problems and is not able to take PE, so that was where they had their early sex ed, though in ninth grade this district has a comprehensive course. So what I did, since she wasn't getting this little bit of stuff they talk about at first, is I found a teenager's guide to sex, made sure it was not some prudish or outdated thing. And by the way, never ever get your kid everything you wanted to ask for sex, but we're afraid to ask. That is a bigoted thing. It's anti-LGBT.
Oh.
But I got her, and made sure that these were had good reviews, and it was done by psychologists and children's development. And I got her a book, and I laid it on her bed. She knew it was coming. I said, would you, you're not getting this, and I know it's uncomfortable always for you to talk details. Would you like this book? She said yes. So I just put it on her bed, and I know she's read it. So
did you remember to put the condom back on there? Yeah, I'm just saying before you
it
the
didn't
book
come
condom.
with condoms.
Oh, okay. The book condom. I was talking about a condom just for the book. Yeah.
So I believe, and this is something on all matters of raising children that I believe so passionately, you don't own your children.
True.
You're not their boss. You are their guide. You have been entrusted by society and by nature to guide this person for a portion of their years, prepare them for adulthood. You don't own them, and you're not their boss. That's the way I look at it. And so
I'm kind of glad you said that now that I don't.
Yeah.
My daughters used to help me do the show. See, if you had come on sooner, if they had heard that, they'd never help me after that. So,
but yeah, it's like, yes, you have to teach them discipline and self-control, timeouts and groundings and stuff, but you're doing it to teach them how to be an adult.
True.
Teaching them how self-control, teaching them how to make wise decisions. And that includes teaching them about sex.
Yes, it does.
And
Exactly.
it's not a taboo in my family. I answer any question they want. If they want to know about masturbation, we go into details. The way I explained it, it is something everybody does, but it's private, like wiping your ear, and you don't come out of the bathroom and announce, I have now wiped my butt. Likewise, you don't say,
I do that at restaurants.
Masturbated.
I do that at restaurants. I come out, hey everybody, I have wiped my ass.
Yes.
And I'm working in the kitchen.
Yeah, and the same thing about masturbation. It's like,
just like
I tell my kids it's perfectly normal, healthy. Everyone does it, even if they say they don't. They do, and nothing to be ashamed of, but it's private, just for you. You don't talk to other people about it any more than you talk about wiping your butt.
Right.
And so that's the way they look at it. It's just something that you do that's for you alone, and you don't talk about it to anyone you wouldn't talk about wiping your butt to.
Right. I tell the same thing, similar to my kids. If you're going to do it, it's perfectly natural. It's actually very healthy for you. So if you want to do it, you just go right ahead. That's up to you. It's your body. So long as you don't put it on camera, because you're underage, after you turn 18, you put it on camera. That's up to you. So.
Yeah, we didn't talk about cameras, but we
just
talked.
There's a lot. There's a lot
of private.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people. A lot of teenagers, snapping pictures of themselves and so forth. So I'm like, so it's like I told them that there's certain laws in place that even if you take a picture of yourself, a lot of people flip out over that, and they want to charge you with child pornography, even if it's your own body, which is really stupid, I think. But
you said charge you. I thought you were going to say monetize. What?
no,
No, come on.
not that kind of charging, Connie. Not that kind of charging.
Thank you. Oh God.